Good
So,
good
as you
morning,
are
Nirmalya.
as you are aware, we started during Navratra, and now on the Diwali we would are featuring you. So, welcome to the show on this
Thank
Dhanteras
you.
Day.
Thank
So,
you so much. Thank you so much, Nirmalya. It's my
and
pleasure to be on your show today.
in fact, today is the day when Dhan barasta hai, so we are sort of looking at the money man. So, correct. So, money is the key one part of it. So, starting off first, let me little bit understand you from the perspective of you started off as a textile engineer and an old order economy. How does this transition happen to this new order, new economy?
So, Nirmalya, first of all, thank you for having me on your show. So the thing is that I was one of my relatives had a very big textile unit in Surat,
Okay.
and my family used to say that I always wanted to do engineering. So they said that why don't you pick textiles? And once I got admission in that, I was always a voracious reader since school. I used to read 2 3 hours every day. Anything I used to read news and all those things, and I had a fascination for technology and finance. And when I was doing textiles, I realized that I'm not made for it. By the third, fourth year, I just wanted to complete it and then move on. And that's what happened after my engineering. I studied for MBA and got into MBA finance at University of Delhi.
Oh, okay. So finance became the second calling for you.
It became the second calling, and there have been many times in my life where my career has moved away from finance a little bit, but it has always come back to finance. So that is something which is so inbuilt in me that I just can't leave it. It's my bread and butter also.
Okay. So is that means finance is your passion as well as the calling also, which is the key coming part of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I have been very lucky.
Hmm.
I have worked in 5 companies, and all 5 companies, different areas of finance. So I was in financial advisory and private equity at
Hmm.
Deloitte and Touche, which was a
Hmm.
consultant
Hmm. Hmm.
company. Then I moved to the buy side, the Times of India's venture arm, Brand Capital.
Hmm.
From there, I moved to treasury operations at Aircel, which was a 15,000 crore treasury. And from there I moved to corporate finance and debt at MTS, the
MTS.
Russian telecom company. And then finally I became a CFO at Distribution Logistics, which was owned by Guggenheim Partners, the American private equity fund.
Okay.
I've been
Um,
very lucky that way.
okay. So you have done the whole lot of corporate finance
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Now from finance to getting to the investment banking. So again, what is the story behind that?
The story is that I had a business before started doing my corporate jobs, and I saw the money potential
Hmm.
which is there when you are on as an entrepreneur. And after my corporate stints, I had started a company which was into hair extensions. And then that company is still running. I have an equity stake in that also. But I didn't like doing non finance work. I was doing a lot of marketing, going to New York, going to African countries. I didn't like that. So I started Consultancy Ventures in 2016. And this comes very naturally to me, understanding how to structure deals, building relationships with investors, the documentation part, capturing and aligning a business plan on the document, explaining it to investors. And, end of the day, there are two ways you can make money. Either you make money, by a job or a business, but, leave that aside. Either you make money by offering a product or a service, or you make money through money by investing that money. And the world economy and the Indian economy also is structured in such a way since the last 30 years that it makes more sense to make money from money. And once a person understands the macro and the micro of this,
Hmm.
then there is no looking back. You can very well accept the fact that the best way of earning money is through this route.
Okay. So I understand that now it's almost 6 years plus for you in running consultancy, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
probably a little bit
And
more than that.
a little bit more than that. How did you arrive at? I'm a brand person, so I just want to. How did you arrive at this consultancy and marrying the two of your life?
No, no, I never wanted to have my name in the company's name, but it just so happened that we were finding a name for my other side of business, and I was also in the process of leaving that business. We were
Mm,
finding a name for the brand,
mm,
and that time it just stuck to me that consultancy can be like through my surname, and I
mm.
happened to book the domain name.
Oh,
And once
okay.
I booked it, the guy who was creating the website, he said, it's perfect. So just go with it. So we
Hmm.
just went with it.
Hmm. If a non-Indian person will take it as yeah, German origin or something.
Yeah, this happened with me a couple of times. People
Uh,
approaching me for Switzerland saying that you a Swiss company.
hmm. Oh, that's a that's a good take on the international play.
Right,
Okay,
right.
so now 6.5, 7 years, what the play of your. So, what are the top three learnings for you in this whole business of startup consultancy, or what have we call it as mentoring or financial capital consultancy?
See, the first thing is that people are guided by their emotions more than hardcore logic. So, even if you have the micro and the macro logic firmly there to explain people that this is the way, the correct way, aligning with the market, aligning with the global economy. But for example, there are probably 90% of Indian entrepreneurs who have been businessmen since some time. They find it very difficult to give away equity.
Uh,
Now, the thing is, they feel that they want to own 100% of the business. And if you tell them that Jeff Bezos owns 20-30% of Amazon, but he's the richest man on the planet, and he went that way only by diluting equity, raising money on the balance sheet side, and not spoiling it on paying 12% interest on loans or working capital, 2 month, 3 month working capital. And so if you try to explain them that capturing the market by using this kind of money through the balance sheet is better, sometimes it becomes very challenging. So because people don't believe that they should not own 100% of the company, so that the psyche part is first. The second part is that a lot of people, they see media, they see how from 436 registered companies in startup India in 2016 to more than 75,000 now. They see the numbers. This company became $10 billion. Freshworks listed on Nasdaq for $10 billion. So
hmm, hmm,
they are more guided by the money part, but they
hmm,
forget that raising a round is just a very small step. End of the day, you have to build a team, find a right product and service, push your product, and then be consistently doing it by way of maintaining an excellence over certain parts of the business. And so it's a long game. And because people are, they're very mystified by the money part of it, they get drawn into it. So the why in their mind is not sorted out. So that is
understood.
the
Hmm,
second part. And the last part is that a large part of our tier 2 and tier 3 towns,
hmm.
they have the education in vernacular languages,
Okay, yeah.
in Hindi and the local languages.
Hmm,
So and the money which is there in this system is either directly coming from Western countries, or it is lent to Indian VC funds. Essentially, it is foreign money.
correct.
So somewhere the role of English is very important, and because the role of English is important, it kind of becomes like an apartheid, because a
Oh,
lot of these people are not able to uh, convince
communicate.
the investors that they have it in them, in spite of having the best qualities in them.
Okay. So that means, well, English is still the bridging the gap in this
Yeah,
world.
it is. It is. It is.
So
Definitely it
this
is.
is a necessary, whatever, even if we call it necessary evil, but
Yeah.
it's necessary to that extent.
Yeah, I mean, there are, I think, around 300 million, 30 crore people in India out of 1.4 billion
Mm,
who actually speak English well.
mm,
And this forms, out of this 5 crore people, 50 million are the major purchasing power, and all of them are English speaking. And these people are more connected to the West than back to the tier 2, tier 3. And so it creates a disconnect.
yeah, this number rattling is almost seems like the media brand capital language.
To tell you very frankly, I joined Brand Capital from Deloitte and Touche.
uh,
And Deloitte was hardcore finance.
uh,
And after I moved to, it was, Brand Capital was 80% media.
uh, correct.
And it was such a change in culture, I can never forget
Uh,
it.
so correct, that happens. It's more of the front side of the thing rather than the
Right.
back end of the
The
part of
back
it.
end. Right.
Part of it. Okay, so one part, yes, we understood practically the Indian so-called the investing companies and all this thing, their mindset part of it. Since you're bridging the gap with the investors, what are the key learnings from the investor side of the story?
See, people feel that VC fund means vulture capital fund and not a venture capital fund, because the fund guy is going to sit on your board of directors, or he might not sit also, but he'll drive you that get me the return, grow fast, grow fast.
Hmm.
And so, one learning from the investor side is that end of the day, out of 10 companies in which you will invest, you have to keep a portfolio approach. And the
Hmm.
portfolio approach is maybe 5 or 6 out of those 10 will not do well.
Hmm. Hmm.
But the thing is that uh, each of them is their baby, right? They have invested same effort and time into those companies.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you have to keep money for follow-on rounds of the companies which are doing well.
Okay.
And
Correct.
definitely, you cannot
Ah.
have a scenario in which your best performing companies don't have a liquidity event in the future.
Okay. Because that's the situation now. Quite a lot of startups are facing the liquidity issue. And
That definitely. And those funds who have kept the firepower for future rounds, they are able to handhold their companies through this phase. And the second part is that the companies not only need capital, they also need relationships to get business. They also need best practices of similar companies abroad and in other markets. And they also need the best business advice. So network, domain specification, and capital, all the three.
okay. So coming back to that means that gives me another cue of asking you, because what are the domains which you prefer, or what's your investment style, or your sort of pickup style?
See, I believe that you should always invest where, first of all, the top down logic is there, in the sense that, there was a direct out of home company which came to me, brilliant founders. End of the day, we are betting on founders, right? So,
Correct.
brilliant founders, uh, amazing technology they created. But the total addressable area of the market in India was 42 crores. So what
Okay.
do you do? I mean, if you invest in this kind of company, even if it takes 50% market, it will have a turnover of 20 crores. So first of all, the macro sense should be there
Okay.
in terms of market sizing and all those things.
Hmm.
The second thing is, the founder degrees are not important, but the founders should have the X factor. And a lot of fund managers say they call it the founder market fit, that the founder should be from that particular sector. He should understand the sector, and then he should be a hustler enough to execute it properly.
Okay.
So second thing is that, and
So that's
sometimes you
that's a
meet
good point,
founders and
because That's a key point, because now people think only IIT IIM badges is important to get a funding. Hmm.
No,
So
not at all. Not at all. Ritesh Agarwal of Oyo,
yeah.
he from IIT? I mean,
Hmm.
he was from a small town, but
Yeah.
he understood the business well.
Hmm.
And and a lot of why Mark Zuckerberg and a lot of these ex-founders, they have quit their degrees because they realize that a formal degree only goes that much.
Correct.
But end of the day, it is the other things which timely launch and the initial relationships, and those things are more important.
Okay.
The degrees, see, once the education moved online,
Hmm.
content is not a problem in education. Google is the mother of
Yeah.
content. So the so what these institutions have to offer nowadays is more alumni relationships,
Okay.
and a badge which can launch you into good companies initially.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So that's what my firm belief is. And okay, so one thing is market sizing, the second thing is the founder, and the third thing is uh, what unique thing you have identified in the market,
Um,
which
your unique proposition, basically.
make unique proposition, which will make you amongst the top three in the sector.
Yeah, that's critical. That's what I see is, because a lot of startups comes to me also, I see them. Well, this is because for a brand, you have to have this uniqueness very sharply defined. Until unless you are defining that, it's very difficult to have your brand stand out very clearly. So that is where
Absolutely.
I see that as a very clear gap in the market, which comes across several times, part of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Mm,
a lot of founders fail to realize the fact that behind a CEO
mm,
there is a CFO,
mm, mm,
and the CFO is monitoring the cash flows. You should have 12 months of cash burn in hand today with you all the
mm,
time.
mm. Yeah, I know this is the burning topic also, right? With the slowdown, things happening, tech world getting a whole shake up now. I mean, Sunil Shetty came up with a big advice on that
Right.
part of it. Part of it that's become a critical situation now. Part of it, but
Bilkul.
just 2016 to now, also, how did you see the change in this whole so-called startup ecosystem?
It's there. You look at how many entrepreneurship development cells are there nowadays.
Mm,
Every college has opened one
mm,
entrepreneurship development cell,
mm,
and they are doing social media things. They are calling people for talks. They are we used to have in our times a very small part as like going for a training,
mm,
but
mm.
today the corporate is inside the academia,
Correct.
and
That
that is the
transition.
right way. That is
Mm,
the right way, because if the formal education does not make sense to people,
mm, mm.
they get bored of it,
Correct.
and that is not a good way of learning it.
Okay.
So I feel that this Startup India, Invest India, they actually created a lot of difference on the ground. And a lot of colleges, government colleges, started having these cells, and then private, in any case, were many of them were leading the government ones, so they also started having. And because of so much of media spotlight on this sector,
Mm,
everybody has gotten interested also. And the fact that unemployment is there,
mm,
not everyone is able to get proper jobs, so people find this a very viable thing, like do entrepreneurship. And
mm,
in any case, Indians are very attuned to entrepreneurship,
mm.
so it just gelled very well, everything.
Okay. One another, which is, because since you are in this whole investment world, I'd like to ask you, because this, when the money comes in, let's say investment happens, the culture building gets a miss a lot of times, and a lot of the startup companies, because of the pressure of the money from the investors and everything, culture building has been criticized quite a lot. All the big,
that's
which is,
that's a fact. That's a fact.
that's fact. So,
That's a fact. I've seen
mm,
startups where culture takes a backseat most of the time,
mm,
and that is because first of all, they only have very small money, and they have to perform within like 8 to 12 months,
mm,
and they are running after objectives and growth, and their capacity to recruit talent is low because they are offering small salaries,
Correct.
but
Correct.
backing it up with ESOPs.
Hmm.
So that's why forming a culture like these meets where people can informally sit and make a team, and all those are kind of on the back seat right now.
So from a venture capital side, shouldn't they be, because their monies are very clearly, these are the invisible parameters for their monies, not the hard parameters or hard KPIs for their money investments. So isn't they should also be fostering this?
They do foster it. I know,
Hmm.
like one of the companies of Sequoia Capital,
Hmm.
Teen Patti.
Hmm.
That company founder is very close to me, and they keep on calling them like once in 3 months or 4 5 months to joints abroad.
Okay.
And all the founders of Sequoia from different parts of the world come there. They
Hmm.
very informal kind of setting,
Hmm.
and people are just partying out and discussing about the startups. And many startups, they also get instructions from the fund guys to hold more offsites
Okay.
and work in an informal setting. Like one of the startup guys, what he does was, there is an ashram of Neem Karoli Baba,
Okay.
and in that ashram, Mark Zuckerberg used to go,
Hmm. Hmm.
and Steve Jobs also. So he takes them there, and in an informal setting, he will talk out about what are your motives in life, why are you
Hmm.
doing
Hmm.
this,
Hmm.
and he kind of tries to align them into the vision.
Okay.
And so these are the, but matter of fact, the culture part is still at the back seat.
Okay. So that gives me that there's a role of the, not the CFO, also the role of the chief people officer or chief human resources officer also. Sort of
Yeah,
it, that sort of.
yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Everybody needs gurus in life, right?
Correct.
And people look up to Steve Jobs videos because the way he explains
Hmm.
his mind about things is really out of this world. So so when he said that a brand can be created by telling your values more
Hmm.
than the
Hmm.
product
Hmm.
specifications.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, like, the way he tells about that a technology is only as good as the customer likes it.
Correct.
So all those things, so people do get access to mentors, and a lot of accelerators and incubators, they bring mentors from the industry and address these people. And a lot of these founders, they have mentors behind them, who they are able to ask questions. And I guess it's a very lonely world at the top, uh, trying to drive growth, and not having a mentor or uh, a consultant by your side. I think uh,
So
it's
seems
a
like
must for them.
that is a topmost advice you're giving to the startups who are listening to this part of it.
Absolutely. Just
Hmm.
go get a guru, get a mentor,
Hmm.
discuss things with him, because it's a lonely world out there.
Hmm.
And the pressure of the startup can really, even uh, people like Tesla's founder, what's his name? Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Even Elon Musk, he faced burnout,
Hmm.
and at one point he was on antidepressants. So it's not an easy world. Markets are very competitive nowadays.
Hmm.
To create a brand of everlasting value, a differentiated brand, at the same time carry your team along, ensuring that they also grow together, and creating this whole value in a very competitive world, it takes a lot. And so it's better you have the right investment banker by your side, have the right consultant by your side, have the right mentors by your side, maybe spiritual mentors, and corporate mentors. And it's
Very good.
that's my
Very well said points, part of it.
thank you.
Okay, now coming back from the softer side to the little more hard side, and this last 7 years journey, let's say, what are you have been your top few facilitation or stories which you have been able to facilitate, and those stories, if you can tell us or tell our viewers also.
Sure. So I was actually one of the early advisors to Riti Sports, MS
Okay,
Dhoni's
I understand.
company, and they were also investing, but at the same time they were doing a lot of brand capital kind of work,
Okay.
and we helped them a lot. Also, Yuvraj Singh's UV Can,
Okay.
and we have worked with them as well,
Okay.
and we have helped a confectionery manufacturing company raise $15 million, and the company was initially a very old economy kind of company, so we were able to handhold them to move in this startup culture direction, and they were already doing good turnover, but we made them launch in new markets and help them with the fundraise.
Okay.
So we have done more than 30
Mm,
fundraisers, and more than the fundraise, helping the companies for 2 to 3 months, making them investor ready, creating their collaterals like pitch deck, financial
mm,
model
mm,
valuation,
mm.
helping them out with unit economics, with MIS, how to present MIS, how to, what are the clauses in the term sheet they should keep in mind while negotiating with the investor. And we have actually helped. I think today in my 7 year journey, I would have interacted with more than 4,000 startups, and a lot of them are on my social media as well.
Wow, that's a really big number. 4,000 startups part of it.
Yeah, yeah, we
And
do we do get a large number of startups every day.
okay. Yeah, and do you take up people or the startups from the seed stage itself, or at what stage do you prefer?
So see, somebody who's coming with you with an idea. Uh, so we kind of bounce that off, that what do we feel about the idea. But let me be frank, people have to do their own work, and if Google is there for me, it is there for them also. So
Hmm.
if somebody is lazy and coming to us, we don't support that. But
Okay.
if somebody is coming to us with a business plan he has in mind, or she has in mind, or they have researched a bit, then we take it on from there. We put our business plan team on the job, we put our financial model team on the job, we thrash out the business plan, create the collaterals, and then get going. But our sweet spot in terms of helping out companies is pre-series A, series
Okay.
A, and series B.
Okay. Okay. So till Series B, it's that you is
Yeah,
the key
and
part
that
of.
is why we were given the award Best Startup Supporter by Dr. Kiran Bedi 4 months back at the ICRA event.
Okay. Oh, oh, iCloud does that. Correct.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Now we'll do a little quick fire round
sure,
part of it. Okay. Few questions only.
sure,
So quantity versus quality.
sure.
What's your take?
Quality always.
Okay. Fast versus slow.
Uh, I guess with the advent of so many screens, people are there on screens, mind runs very fast. So our reactions have become very fast. So in today's times, I will say take it slow.
Wow. Okay. Global versus Indian.
Global. I mean,
Oh,
India, 30 crore people are speaking fluent English, and we are all
hmm.
global.
Okay. Okay. Money versus value.
When you don't have money, then money, otherwise value.
You have to pick one. You have to pick one.
Okay. I will say money.
Okay. Okay.
You can ask me why.
Okay. Yeah. Why?
Because I want more money at this stage in life.
Yeah. Well,
So,
every stage, a lot of people ask for money.
see,
Okay.
my
Uh,
whole life I have been delivering value. That comes very naturally to me. मैं नहीं भी चाहूंगा, मैं value दूंगा ही दूंगा.
okay. Okay. Hustle versus balanced.
See, balanced works more when you are in a designation and you have the team and you have powers and you have to manage the processes, manage uh, the company line. But
Hmm.
otherwise, in life, hustle works more.
Hustle works more for you because this is a whole debate going on now. This hustle culture, this whole thing happened in last 1 month or so. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
this
If you're
whole.
not hustling, somebody else will hustle and go ahead of you.
Okay. So then my next fire is race versus 100-meter versus marathon. What's which one?
See, 100 meter. You look at Liz Truss of UK. She was trying to run 100 meters.
100-meter, correct. So
By
your answer is there.
she was giving false promises how she will turn out the economy, right?
Uh, uh,
And she failed miserably.
hmm.
So it has to be a long term thing.
Wow. So that's a really good balanced, I'll say balanced
Thank you.
answer from your end, part of
Thank
it.
you.
Okay. Coming back to your own part of the journey, we have been now talking of largely the ecosystem and the part of it. So, what are the top three of your, as a consultancy venture, has been your learning as consultancy in this whole ecosystem?
My learning is that पहली बात तो आपका the money which you deserve, the the value you are providing, you only know.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
have to ask your worth.
Hmm.
If you don't ask, you won't get it.
Okay.
So be upfront.
Hmm.
Even if people will say no, let them say no, because you know your worth.
Hmm.
Nobody else knows your worth. Second, promote yourself. You
Hmm.
are the brand.
Hmm.
If you are जो दिखता है वो बिकता है.
Correct.
If you are not promoting yourself, then it is nobody's fault.
Correct.
So be
Ah.
seen,
Hmm.
and third thing is, because we are on screens nowadays and we have become kind of antisocial. But the
Hmm.
fact is that when you meet people, you have to have the social attributes.
Oh.
And that can only be built by meeting people and spending quality time with them.
Hmm.
So
Correct.
detox yourself from digital.
Hmm.
Maybe like there can be 5 days when you don't pick your mobile. Do digital detox, spend some time with people, the right people, spend some time in the environment.
Hmm.
And
Correct.
so these are my learnings. I have been guilty of overspending my time on screens. So these
Not
learnings are
just you, not just
acquired.
you. This is the hot topic in my home also. My better half keeps bugging me on this. So
See,
I.
it is so sticky, the mobile phone, the
Uh,
artificial intelligence, and how they present you what you want.
uh,
It is so sticky that people are spending 8 to 10 hours every day on the
hmm.
mobile.
And now
So
the so-called passive listening by the devices, it's becoming a
yeah,
little
yeah.
major challenge. Part of
Alexa is listening to you. Google search is listening to you.
Google search is
Mobile,
listening.
yeah. WhatsApp calls, they are listening to you.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
mind-boggling.
Hmm.
And sometimes I'm thinking something, and I'm
Hmm.
open YouTube, and the video is there, and I say, how
Correct,
did
correct,
he?
correct,
How did
correct.
he?
In fact, same thing happened. I went out before with my daughter to the shop to buy something. She was looking at some parallels or some other. So she was speaking only, and my phone was just there. But after I come back home, I see a lot of ads for different of those parallel pants or something. Well,
So
I
this is
think.
there. This is there. I tell you,
Hmm. Hmm.
if you are in a mall
Hmm.
and you are
Hmm.
seeing a screen on which ad is playing,
Hmm. Hmm.
that screen is linked to a digital out of home server.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that server has access to GPS coordinates of people who are near that screen.
Hmm.
And they are able to use artificial intelligence to show you the right advertisement.
Okay.
It has become that kind of
Hmm.
invasion.
Okay, so coming to my next level, which is the how does networking sort of play a role in life for a
I am
founders as well as for a, let's say, consultancy venture guy?
I am yet to figure out, because I go to these events, people come to me, I go to people, I exchange cards,
Hmm.
and we say hello. And I don't know, just by meeting someone for 5-10 minutes, there is some part in people's mind, some satiation happens. They feel satisfied. We have met this guy, and
Oh,
uh, and
huh.
and so there is a different level of warmth and communication which happens after that. So I guess that part will always be there. We are all humans. So that is why I go to events. I do these speaking sessions. I do become a judge in events because I get to meet people and exchange notes and
Hmm.
exchange visiting cards.
Hmm.
And social media is on our head nowadays. So if you are not promoting yourself on social media, then you are doing a crime.
Yeah.
So that is why, after meeting them, I get them added onto my social media, and then we become kind of pals for life.
Okay.
So that is my
Hmm.
approach, but it is not perfect. I am the wrong person to give advice on
Hmm.
networking, because I'm still learning.
Because the width versus depth of the networking, that's another fact. But
Yeah,
until
yeah.
unless you meet people, you would not start the relationship in a
You
deeper
have
manner.
to meet. You have to
Uh,
meet. I mean, because see, end of the day, we all are programmed to use jargons to explain things. Like,
hmm. Hmm.
so you will never get to know what his real motivation was, what this
Correct.
person's real motivation was.
Correct. So that's why at Entrepreneurs Media, people, we have also thing we are going to come up is this startup summit.
Oh
So that is
wow.
one of the
Okay.
key one, which is in December that team is preparing for. And I would request all the people listening to should actually subscribe to the channel and do look up to the timelines and details to join us on the whole startup summit, which we are planning in. So do join in part of it. Okay, so Tushar, what we on the last few questions to you.
Sure.
So, if I have to ask Tushar Kansal to describe himself in one sentence, how will he describe himself?
I'm a very light-hearted kind of guy,
Hmm.
but I have my serious side, and that comes because I do a lot of reading and a lot of spiritual reading
One
also.
sentence. One
Oh,
sentence. Now you're going on.
okay. So in one sentence, I can say I'm a very friendly person,
Hmm.
and I like to see myself as a thought leader.
Oh, okay. And Kansal in one word.
Uh, crazy.
Okay. So फिर तो एक क्वेश्चन मुझे आता है बचपन में नटखट थे काफी
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Always very nutcracker.
तो घर में सबसे छोटे या सबसे
Yeah,
बीच
yeah, I
वाले
have no. I have an elder sister, so I
ओ
was the younger one.
इसलिए ज्यादा नटखट है
Yeah,
correct part of it
probably.
part of it. So thanks for participating. I know we've been sort of also been quite a vocal in all the platforms and all this thing. Quite a good part of it. Good to know you more. And in fact, our meetup in physical terms with you is also pending.
Is
So
also pending. Is
is
also
also pending.
pending, and thank you so much for having me. And I would like to
So
tell everyone watching today that this event, which is coming up on 16th of December at the Umrao on NH48 in Delhi, it's going to begin at 9 a.m. There will be a huge number of events. You all are welcome. Startup investors, team members, everyone is invited, and look to see you there. And I always support entrepreneurs media because it is doing such fantastic work in helping out these startups and the investors. So thank you again